Nick's pulling out his games to see if he's missing anything.
Yeah, I got a box of N64 here.
I'm sure there's one I'm missing. I'm not thinking about.
There were some.
Did anyone ever play Pokemon Stadium?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Pokemon Stadium was great.
Yeah, I have Stadium 2 right here. But yeah, Pokemon Stadium was a lot of fun. Back when you couldn't get Whale Lords that would destroy the stadium itself.
Yeah. Back when if you kept on pressing A, you'd go first.
So back then, I enjoyed. It was pretty cool that like you could actually work through like different variations of like Pokemon battles and progress that way. And it's also cool that you can also do the crossover where you can bring your Pokemon from like your Game Boy to the stadium.
I thought that one of the funnest parts were the mini games in the Poke Park.
Yes, yes.
And so, like, you played ring toss with Ekans, so you threw an Ekans, like a little ring. You had to do, and it was, the Clefairy one was the most annoying thing on the planet because it was just Simon Says, and you had to press it in the right direction, and it would get nuts.
Yeah, and then there's also like the Scyther one where you're like chopping blocks and stuff like that. Yeah. Pilot Wings and Conquer. Yes, Conquer Bad Fur Day was so good.
Yeah, I actually saw that one. That one was weird.
It was like it was like one of the very first like M-rated
Xbox games that I played.
Like N6. I don't know if that was technically M-rated. Maybe I know it was at least teen because I don't know. Well, no, it was because
I just remember having to fight a pile of shit.
Yeah. You fight a pile of shit, and they also had tons of references.
Oh,
whether
Matrix
it be
was
like
one of them.
like Matrix or I'm trying to remember. I think they did like a little bit of a Terminator thing and some other stuff.
He also said F-Zero.
F-Zero, yes.
Oh, nice.
I never actually got to play any of the F-Zero games. I saw lots of speedrunners and stuff do it, in which they're crazy at it, as you can imagine.
Oh, I'm sure.
Turok, yes. Turok was... I played Turok when it was on the Xbox. This is all suggestions that Morris is saying.
Man, so many good games. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Nintendo 64 was literally just one of those systems that just defined everybody's
childhood gaming. Yeah.
Right. And, like, at the same time, like, they branched out in various...
Yeah.
Like, before they were just... in a way, like playing kid stuff.
Yeah.
They even had games like the Mortal Kombat trilogy.
Oh yeah.
Which was amazing. I remember playing this with my brother so much, trying to figure out all the fatalities, all the characters. Even if they were just like recolors and stuff like that, you still had brutalities and animalities and all that other stuff.
Big-balities.
Yeah. It was another one of those games where you had to get like the walkthrough book to show you like all the moves and all that stuff that you can figure out. Which some characters were extremely broken, also known as Noob Saibot and Shang Tsung.
Love Noob. But Noob was just a glitch. He wasn't even supposed to be an actual character.
Originally. Yes. And I think he's amazing to play as. Especially when you're a kid and you see the blood and guts go everywhere too. And then we got
Cruising USA and Cruising the World. I had Cruising the World.
I had Cruising USA. I enjoyed that a lot.
Cruising the World.
And it was just like a normal racing game.
Yeah.
But it was very simplified and
it was very fun because if you figured it out, you could double press A and do like the boost on the back.
Yeah.
And then you could flip over the cars.
That stuff was cool. Yeah. I completely forgot you could do that stuff. That's like some Speed Racer stuff.
And you can still do that with the arcade games because they still have cruising arcade racers.
Yeah.
And so if you are on the gas pedal, if you double tap the gas pedal, you'll start boosting again and you'll flip over cars if you hit them.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I also had 1080, which was a snowboard game. I don't know if you guys are...
I had the Wave Runner one.
Oh, yeah.
The Wave Race? Is that, I think that was?
1080 was cool because...
Oh my gosh.
What?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Was that on that 64?
Yes!
Really? I never got...
I
thought that was PlayStation.
That was N64.
Really?
Okay.
I had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, and it was on N64.
All the Tony Hawk games were cool.
They were.
I like the ones where they had like some guys from Jackass with like Bam Margera and stuff like that, and you had to do like their challenges. That stuff was way fun. And that
I just remember being able to play horse through Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Mm-hmm.
You could play horse. You'd have to do a trick, and somebody else would have to match that trick. And if they didn't, then they'd get a letter.
Right.
So I'd play against Zach all the time, and it would be so much fun.
Just a really janky trick.
It would be so bad. And he said, "Hell yeah."
Yeah. And
the soundtracks for those were great too.
Mm-hmm. I think a big game for me and my brother that didn't make my list was the wrestling games, whether it be, let's see here, WF Warzone back when there was WF, and then there was WCW versus NWL Revenge and WF No Mercy. These were all like awesome wrestling games. You can actually create wrestlers. Mm-hmm. I remember making like Ninja Guys as a kid, and I would rename them based on Mortal Kombat characters.
Gotcha.
So I'd make a purple ninja dude, and I'd call him Rain. Right? Gosh, I remember Rain. But yeah, those were all really, really cool N64 games that I grew up with that I loved. So you said that you had a
SNES.
SNES.
Same, yeah.
What was that? Which game was that?
The first game I ever played, and first time I learned to use a controller, Super Mario World.
Super Mario World?
Yeah. Was
that the very first game?
The very first game I ever played. Going through all the struggles of coordinating my left and right hand, and arrows and buttons.
Gotcha.
I only had 2 to deal with, or I had 4 to deal with, but it still felt like a lot of buttons at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's. I think the controllers were back then a little overcomplicated in a way, because they were trying to like make each controller different, and then they also wanted to make sure they incorporated a lot of different things.
Really, in all honesty, after the SNES, once you got to the Nintendo 64, that was too. It was not a comfortable controller to hold.
It was not. No. Holding that moment, we're having some technical difficulties with Ben at the moment, so we're just gonna say goodbye to him. He was messaging me earlier saying that he was gonna hop off, but he will be joining the chat. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sorry guys. It's just it's breaking up real bad.
Oh, it's all good. All right.
It's like mine and not y'all.
I got you. All right, bud. We'll catch you all later.
All right. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
All right. Cool. So.
But yeah, so the N64 controller, which I got one right here, I'm gonna unplug it, is super janky. I don't understand why they did this, because they definitely wanted the D-pad and they also wanted the joystick.
And they wanted the C-pad as well.
And they wanted the C-pad, which you see all of these on a GameCube controller.
Yes.
Right, and you actually see all of these on currently. They even have bumpers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also had that Z button at the back too.
Yeah, they had the Z button, which you see all of these on the GameCube controller, and then you even see them on the Wii and the Switch. So they actually carried all these buttons and just changed it over. But I just don't understand why they had the 3 different handles.
At a guess, I think I see what they were doing. Because if you wanted to use the thumbstick, you could just put your left hand where it is right now. Mm-hmm. But then you could switch it up and make it more comfortable to access just the D-pad with your left if you wanted to use that. Because I think you wouldn't normally use both in a single game. You would only use one or the other.
But man, this
that's my guess. It's still janky to me.
Right.
My other gripe with it too is that there were some mini games where you had to rotate the stick, center stick,
you would go,
as fast as you can.
Like this.
Go crazy.
You could literally burn. I felt like I could burn a hole through the center of my hand trying to do that.
Yeah.
Trying to rotate it as fast as possible.
It has like a little grippy piece on it. Yeah, like it's got some.
And that's
edges.
probably why half of the joysticks broke, was because you had to do something like that in order to get it fast enough.
And like this one, like it still works. It's just that like it doesn't rest where it's supposed to.
Oh, it doesn't rest in the center. I see.
But like if I was still go left, right, up or down, like it still works like it's supposed to. But at the same time,
The only thing I didn't like about the
Far too
64 was the analog.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I completely agree with that. And it needed to be more like the whole GameCube controller with the analog stick so that it would snap back into place instead of just kind of be just a plastic rod that's holding the top of the thing.
Yeah.
Super flimsy in a way.
Yeah.
'Cause,
I mean, it was just a ball that was attached to a rod that was attached to the
right.
Yes.
thing.
I mean, they weren't expecting, like, you know, all these play hours and all this other crazy crap that, you know, gamers ended up doing. Which I was looking at one of our stores that's near here about getting new N64 controllers, and they're like about $30-$35. But I was kind of looking at them. I was like making sure, like, whether
the thing worked.
Not even if it worked, but the analog stick to make sure and like it was just right, you know. Which I think half of them were, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you mentioned the SNES game, and were there any others that you remember playing back then?
I already mentioned the Star Fox one. That was on the SNES.
Right.
I remember emphasis on trying to play a Jurassic Park one that I had no idea what I was doing. I pretty much just spent my whole time trying to hop around the world and didn't really give me an objective. I remember playing a game called Earthworm Jim.
Yes. I love Earthworm Jim. I
don't remember the objective. I just remember it was kind of like a platformer adventure almost.
Wasn't he like just a worm that controlled a body? Was that
that's exactly what it was, but I don't beyond that I don't remember anything.
He wanted to pick up the ladies, I think, and he was shooting guns and stuff. Like, he had like laser beams and stuff. And then I remember like making my way through like junkyards and stuff like that, and you had to bounce on tires in order to get higher. And I do
remember. I think that was like the only level I played was the junkyard level over and over.
I think the physics of that was a little wonky. Like it wasn't consistent. Yeah, there's that. I remember doing some sort of robot one growing up. I can't remember it. But yeah. I think Nintendo's pretty cool about like featuring their old classics because like even on like the new Switch, they have like you can still play older games.
Oh yeah.
Like even the SNES games and stuff like that. Like my brother was playing the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, or no, he wasn't playing that. The Battletoads? He was playing Battletoads.
I've always heard of Battletoads. I've seen like some footage. I've seen a speedrunner do it.
Yeah.
I've never actually played it.
My brother was really big on Battletoads, and he was playing that with his buddy. Like I guess it's been a while now, but yeah, he was kind of reminiscing on it. What else?
I thought about one more Nintendo 64, but we gotta move on from 64, I think.
Yeah. No,
I never owned it. But Pokemon Snap.
I never got to play it.
It was so different than a normal Pokemon game.
Because
all you did was take pictures, but you had to align the Pokemon just right. You had to, because you were in like a rolling cart while you were taking pictures.
So you only had like a certain amount of time.
So you only had a certain amount of time to get a perfect score on a picture or something like that. And you had to get a certain score in order to move on to the next stage, or else you'd just keep on going through the same thing. But that's such a classic game. It was so simple. I never owned it. I really need to get it because I really want to play it.
You want to try it out?
I want to try it out. I played it a couple of times here and there, but that was when I was younger and I didn't understand the entire premise of the game. So, and then they tried that whole thing with like the Hey You Pikachu and all that other stuff with the extra stuff that you could add on. But Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Stadium were the two biggest Pokemon games when they came out.
I think I was offered to get that game and when I was a kid, and I was like, man, because like for some reason as a kid, I was passed around the camera during family events to like take pictures, and I was just so sick of it because like every family event I had to go take pictures. So I think the idea of that, like, it bugged me so much. I was like, man, I don't want to take pictures in a game. I already hate doing it in real life. It's like, but yeah, I was just checking chat.
Well, speaking of Pokemon Snap, I mean, Pokemon in general kind of made my list. I wasn't sure if I should make it more specific than that.
I made it a little bit more specific because I started off with a Game Boy Color too.
Same.
Right.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. This one didn't make my list, but a different Pokemon game did, and it's weird how this happened. But the first Pokemon game I ever played was Pokemon Red, like the original Game Boy Color Pokemon Red with the Charizard on the front. Red.
Yeah. Mine was blue, which had the Blastoise.
Yeah. I had a Pokemon Yellow. There was something wrong with it. It didn't save, so I stopped playing it. The one that stands out most in my mind, though, is the one that I played the most. It got me fully immersed into Pokemon. Was the Pokemon Crystal with the Suicune on the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was for Game Boy Color. That's also one of the reasons why Johto is my favorite generation, second gen. But yeah, so I literally played that thing non-stop.
Because they started like implementing with every Pokemon, which I think can eventually become their downfall, is that they keep implementing certain areas or mechanics into the game that seem awesome. Like, just it kind of immerses you in the world. So like in the very first one, you had the Safari.
Yeah.
Right. Also, it was the very first one, so like everything was new. You know, traveling the whole world and capturing all the Pokemon and stuff like that. And then
they started adding being able to take the Pokemon from in one game and putting it into the next game.
Right, and then in Johto they had they started putting in daycares. I think was that the first.
I think that was the first time
yeah.
you had daycares.
And I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. They had the.
And that's when you started getting the slut dittos.
Yeah, and then they had like little extra areas. They started doing that because they had the place where all the unknowns were.
Yeah.
And you had to figure out their little puzzles.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I just played the crap out of that game. But that's one of the reasons that, when you said that that's going to be the downfall, that's one of the reasons I'm very, very pessimistic when it comes to this new Pokemon game coming out for the Switch. Is because they're adding stuff in that I don't think that they actually need.
Right.
And a lot of diehard fans that are not the newer generation of fans are going to absolutely hate certain things.
Yeah, I've strayed away from Pokemon more and more. Sapphire, Emerald, and Ruby were really good.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed those a lot. They put in contests and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean like that's the thing. I'm fine up until you hit Black and White. Once you hit Black and White, that's the last generation that I'm fully okay with. And the reason why is because once you hit Black and White 2, you started getting that kind of a fusion of a Pokemon with the Necrozma not the Necrozma, the Kyurem.
Oh, yeah.
The Kyurem and the Reshiram and the Kyurem and the Zekrom. You had that kind of fusion of Pokemon. Didn't really like that. When you got to Sun and Moon, you got the whole Necrozma and Solgaleo and Necrozma and Lunala.
Right.
And then they implemented the Ultra Beasts. They're not Pokemon, but you're still catching them like Pokemon. I'm not a big fan of Ultra Beasts in general because it's not really supposed to be part of that world.
Right.
But it's like they're just grasping at straws trying to add a new Pokemon.
I mean, if they were Pokemon, they'd be sick. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
but I don't like having...
Buzzwole's awesome.
But it's kind of like how you have Pokeballs, you have all this other stuff, but they had to make a new ball in order to catch specifically Ultra Beasts.
Right.
And it's like they're from a different dimension. That started with Deoxys. He's an actual Pokemon. I get it. It started with Giratina. He's an actual Pokemon. I get it. But there's a difference between Pokemon that are still in this universe and then Pokemon coming from a different universe that are not actually Pokemon, but they're called Ultra Beasts. That's where I kind of draw the line. It kind of bothers me. And then I really don't like with these new games coming out with Sword and Shield. I don't think I'm gonna like the whole freaking grow your Raichu Dynamaxing. This is, I mean, it's bullcrap. You don't go against giant ass Pokemon.
Yeah.
Just play it like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
The battle system needs to be more complex. It needs to be dynamic with counters and stuff.
Yeah. I think with that comes along with like more types, is that like every time when they implement new types, they add counters and they kind of construe everything when from the originals, it was fire beats grass, grass beats water, water beats fire. And, like, everyone had one type, and that was it.
Yeah, and then when they started putting in, like, the fairy types.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no
Well,
point.
They
The
kind of
part of the fairy was that it countered dragon and whatever.
which dragon really didn't have that many solid counters except for like one type. I
But
think
they also
that was
didn't
the whole.
have that many Pokemon.
It was the whole reason to add it was to make it more like reliable counter.
But see, the original, all they had was Dragonair and Dragonite.
Right. So
Those were the only dragons.
That was kind of the counter at the time, is not having that many. But as they added more dragons, they needed the.
We gotta reel it back in. We're going down a Pokemon hole.
Oh, that's
We're
true.
not here for Pokemon.
No, that's true, but
It is a respectable thing, and we all feel extremely passionate about
Yeah.
Pokemon. We will have a show dedicated to Pokemon, but that's when we're gonna have our bigger
Yeah.
group here.
anyways.
So we mentioned SNES games. Were there any Dreamcast games?
I think Ben said he had one,
Yes.
but I think that's the only.
Yeah, and then we did the N64 games. So now
GameCube.
GameCube.
I only have 2 from GameCube.
Okay.
One of them, of course, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Okay.
One of my favorite games.
You've been
of all
wanting to
time.
play that with me.
Yeah, I kind of want to do a Let's Play for that one. That was just a very good game. A lot of people give it crap because this was the first time that Sonic... It was almost like an open world, sort of. You were on a track.
Right.
But it was still...
You can still explore.
You can explore some. They also didn't like how they changed certain things of... Crazy Taxi is another one.
Crazy Taxi.
But with the whole Sonic thing, they changed his eye color. His eye color is now green, like that kind of thing.
What was it originally?
It was originally just like black.
Just the black
Yeah.
dot. Yeah.
And so they gave him the green eyes. They gave him the super red shoes. It was
now
weird.
distinguished.
It was more distinguished.
Yeah, because they had like laces and crap. Which is,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But and then they added Shadow in this one. This was the first time the Shadow was added into a full Sonic game.
Right.
So I think it was really just a good step forward for Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So I just enjoyed the game profusely.
Okay. You got a GameCube game?
I do. I've got that. Well, I've said 2 of them already, Wind Waker and Melee, but then my other one is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance.
And no worries, Morris. We understand the delay is there. But yeah, he said Crazy Taxi on Dreamcast.
Yeah.
He's on mobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's part of streaming and everything like that. It usually takes a second for us to respond, whatever, because there's delay by the time we read it and by the time you send it and then we read it again.
Yeah.
It's just part of streaming.
Yep.
But yeah.
So yeah, Path of Radiance, one of the first like strategy games that I played.
Mhm.
Paper Mario is kind of strategy in terms of like managing badges, but that's more like I guess Fire Emblem's turn-based too, but
Yeah.
there was a lot more to manage versus just like choosing you and your partner's attack or Paper Mario. This is a lot more in depth with like, who do I kill at this point to get? I need to level up certain units, and I need to focus on the weaker ones. I need to position everyone well still, but I need to make sure if I just send in one unit and to kill everything, then I'm going to be screwed in later chapters. There's a really cool trying to manage all of that, and I just really like the story as well. It was a really compelling story. If anyone goes back to play it, please don't judge the cinematics because it was really bad voice acting.
Oh,
but it's really, really bad. But it was like English voice actors that probably did not get to see the actual game. They probably just had a script.
Yeah, they was like, say these lines.
Just play these lines. Here's your money.
It might have even been actual voice actors. Might have just been people.
In the people in the office. Yeah,
yes.
Possibly. But it's
you
still,
have a nice-ish voice.
it's still
say these words.
It's still near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, it's kind of funny on how like that stuff was acceptable back then. Like, and then we don't really criticize it as much back then, but then now when we see
so
like
bad.
when the bar is like set, now we're like, how dare you do this?
Yeah.
This is a horrible game
Why would
just
you do
because
this?
of, you know. Which is kind of makes us kind of spoiled because we'll completely discard a game just because of like one aspect of it, whether it be the graphics or the storyline, even though it might be a mostly multiplayer game, or the other way around. The multiplayer is crap, but the campaign is awesome. And let me see if there's any other GameCube games that I had.
Oh, no, I have one more. But...
You had one more?
Mm.
Let's see here. Yeah, go ahead.
The last one I had for GameCube was Kirby Air Ride. It's not your typical Kirby game, but you basically got to fly on different starships around a city, and you got to basically do multiplayer and get powers and all this other stuff. So it was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
There was this one star that was broken as all hell, and you could literally just fly it the entire time.
Was it like a level chooser, like kind of like Mario 64?
No. It was weird. You only had one level, but there were like you were rolling around the city on a little ship, like Kirby's typical star, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But you had different versions of those ships. So, like, you had a motorbike one that was really cool. You had one that was, like, a tank or something.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool. It was different. And, so
trying to picture Kirby cruising through
a
city
I know, right?
Like...
Oh, I can imagine it. And I can even imagine his little army
And there was
cat.
one that was called a wheelie, which was really cool because it was, like, Kirby was just hanging on, and it had a single wheel, and it, like, shot at you. It was cool. But, so you were going around the city... finding different ships that were showing up, and you saw like a beam of light go down towards the ground when a ship was being there, and you would go around the city for a certain time limit, and you'd do certain things, and then a special event would happen. So you'd have to like fight something, or you'd have to do something to save someone, or and then you'd go into a mini game, and you'd have to try and use the ship that you found. So you were trying to find the best ship you could. You had to use the ship that you found in order to win the mini game and continue on. So it was interesting, and there was a free play, of course, but
gotcha.
Yeah.
So Morris said he mentioned some GameCube games, which I've played all of these: Resident Evil 4 from the Resident Evil series, Beautiful Joe, and Metroid.
Okay.
I personally like the original Resident Evil just because like it had a little wow factor to it.
Right.
That and it was different because like the way Resident Evil used to be was that like you would start off like going inside this mansion, right? Obviously it's a zombie game and you didn't know it was about zombies. Well, you haven't encountered a zombie yet, but at the same time though, like the whole perspective was instead of like a third person following you around, the perspective was like in the corner of the room looking down. So, like, then your character would walk around and stuff like that. So you can't exactly see what's going on around a corner until you actually go around the corner to change the character, or change the perspective. So that was, like, one of the big things was that, like, you would do that, and then you would go around this one corner, and then the camera wouldn't change, and you're like, what's happening? And then you realize you're fighting a zombie, and he's pushing you back.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the crap, man? I'm dying! That and it had like the famous dog scene that people were completely scared of.
He says, I agree. I like the puzzles over combat.
Yeah. Beautiful Joe was pretty interesting because like it was like putting a normal fighting game into an adventure game. So it was like a platformer in a way, and you're just doing like crazy combos and you're trying to make your way all the way through without being touched as fast as possible. Which the speedruns for that is absolutely hilarious because they manipulate the functions of certain moves. So they like speed through a level that normally takes like 15 minutes in like 5 seconds. Like legit.
Wow.
It's crazy. But yeah, Beautiful Joe is pretty cool. And then you also said Metroid. Metroid was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. I think I played... Yeah, I played more Metroid on the Wii. I played a Metroid game on there that was pretty cool because you actually had the motion controls to shoot. Which like puzzle games were definitely like big for me as well.
And see, I just remember seeing Metroid being played on trial for at Blockbuster.
Right.
Back when those things were around.
Back when you could rent a game to try it out and try to beat the game within the week, the day.
Oh yeah.
Which me and my brother did quite a bit.
I did too.
And then for me, I had two other GameCube games that were on my list. That
I think I still owe Blockbuster money for late fees.
Oh yeah.
No,
I think I literally just kept
I don't think they'll come
games.
collecting anytime soon.
So I'm gonna mention the unpopular one, which you guys. I know I mentioned it to you guys before, but there's a game called Custom Robo.
Okay.
And basically, it was like a mech game where you go in, you can customize your mech, and you go around this level and you fight this other mech. It's like an arena-style mech shooter. Really cool. But a game that's similar to that I played on the GameCube was Zoids.
I remember that too. That was fun.
Yeah, then you get like the sniper
Zoids
one,
Battle Legends,
and you climb like the highest skyscraper because the thing can
and you had to
super
be in,
high jumps.
Yeah, in those raptors.
Yeah. And then you have different kinds of Zoids. Some that were more melee based, others that can shoot more.
Like versus Schneider versus I don't know.
I don't remember any of them now.
I remember the raptor that had the tail sniper.
Yeah. It wasn't a raptor though. It was a like a pterodon or something like that.
No, it was a raptor.
Was it?
Yeah. And then I remember another raptor that was smaller. It was red and had blades coming out the sides.
Yeah.
And that was the one that jumped the highest.
Yeah. And then you had to fight what the Bronchiosaurus.
That thing was just a tank.
They had a special name for all of them.
Yeah.
But that thing was like literally the biggest thing ever, and like the only way you had to fight it was you literally had to go around in circles in this big open desert, and you had to shoot it from over the hill, so you can dodge it because it can like one shot you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Could you upgrade your mechs? I think you could.
Yeah, you could basically customize what guns you had on certain things. You can make your own, and it would save to a memory card.
Yeah.
So you had to have your memory card in order to play.
Let's playing Zoids.
I'd be fine with that.
Yes.
I still have it.
That would be our versus segment we could do. That would be a really good one. Yeah, Zoids.
I think Zach actually has that one.
Yeah.
With him, so I'll get him to bring it home.
Obviously, with GameCube, there also was Melee.
Melee was always good.
Twilight Princess started off with both GameCube and Switch.
You had Double
or
Dash.
Not Switch.
Wii.
Double Dash.
Double Dash was good.
Yes, the Resident Evil series as well, because I remember owning the original one and Zero.
Yeah, there was one more, and this was the first, I think, M-rated game that I actually had. It might have been T-rated.
Okay.
It's called Time Splitters.
I don't know about that. I think I know this one.
That one, it was weird. It was like you went back in time, and you were this dude with like robot eyes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you went back in time and you had to play through different levels. You saw like the hippie era, it was cool. It was just like a first person shooter game though.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had multiplayer and they had the most absurd characters. Like there was a sock puppet. There was a guy with a hand, like a glove for a face.
Oh, really?
And he like they always said these certain things. He was like something. I'm quite handy, and like started laughing, and was like, it was your kind of game.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, I guess I'll speak for Ben. Ben probably would like Luigi's Mansion from the GameCube as well.
No doubt.
We played that, and he was reminiscent through the whole time.
Check that out on YouTube.
Yes, we had a Let's Play of that, which was a lot of fun. We have like 24, 25 episodes.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
Very good.